7:01 on June 17th, 2026, and I will call the meeting of the Essex Planning Board to order. We will jump in to the public hearing, which is scheduled to resume at 7 o'clock. This meeting is being recorded by 1623, and it's remotely available on Zoom to members of the public. I will take a motion to reopen the public hearing that was opened on March 4th, 2026, and which was continued to March 18th, 2026, to April 1st, 2026, to April 15th, 2026, to May 6th, 2026, to May 20th, 2026, to June 3rd, 2026, and again to this evening, June 17th, 2026, on the definitive subdivision plan application by Bell Point LLC for property at 0 Essex Park Road and 0 Pond Street Rear, map 147, lot 19, and map 142, lots 30 and 31, to create a 36-lot open space residential development OSRD subdivision under the Town of Essex rules and regulations relative to subdivision control, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Sections 81K to 81GG, the subdivision control law, and per a special permit issued on September 3rd, 2025, per Section 6-8, Open Space Residential Development, OSRD of the Town of Essex zoning bylaw. So take a motion.
So moved.
Second. So who moved that? Beth moved that. Shelley, want a second?
No, Simone second. I moved, Simone second.
Oh, okay.
She did second.
Okay.
Simone.
Beth moved it and Simone seconded it. Thank you. Okay. The hearing is reopened. So this will be the last evening of the hearing. We're scheduled to close it this evening. I know. It is the 8th night of it, so we're ready. To that end, the reason that the hearing has been continued was to let the process of the peer review complete. And what has happened since our last meeting is that we have gotten some additional information. I'm sorry, we got the revised peer review along with some additional information from the applicant, and those are, via this hearing, formally admitted to the process. So we have dated June 12th, the final version of the peer review from Weston and Sampson Engineers, and we have also received, dated June 10th and revised on June 15th, an exhibit of the intersections that are the question of one of the waivers. The exhibit doesn't change anything other than to highlight the areas that are the focus of the waivers, and then additional information on the stormwater and a foxhole manhole at the bottom of Road A where it intersects Essex Park Road. So that's the additional information we've received from the applicant that has come after our last meeting, and then also the peer review we received last Friday and then got a final version of it on Monday. It's still dated June 12th. We have here tonight 2 copies of Weston and Sampson's peer review in case anyone needs to review that just as a reference rather than printing all 52 pages. We just have 2 reference copies. We have the full-size set of plans here for the planning board. That is the final version. It's not the final version, but it's the version that we're reviewing tonight that was revised from the original submittal from January. That's dated, that set of plans we had before the last meeting, but it's been officially submitted to the planning board and stamped in by the town clerk. So that's where we are with the materials. So our next step is if anyone has questions or comments on Weston and Sampson's review. We're also going to talk about the procedure tonight is we're going to sort of formally accept these materials, go through any questions that we would want the applicant's input in while we're still in the public hearing. So if we have questions for either Jesse Johnson from Weston and Sampson, who's online, or questions for the applicant, their engineer, Will Shuda, is here also. That information would be conducted in the hearing, and then after we close the hearing, the planning board will deliberate on the documents, the draft of the decision that's in front of us. So during the hearing is our opportunity to engage with Weston and Sampson for any questions on the peer review, or with the applicant for any questions on that. So planning board members, do you have questions for either the applicant or our peer review engineer? You don't have to, because it's really a thorough review. I mean, Weston and Sampson went through every single thing, yeah, so. But if you do have questions, this is the opportunity to do it, so that it is information that's received and clarified in the public hearing while it's still open.
So is it questions or comments?
I would say questions right now, because comments will be part of our deliberation.
Okay.
So this is just clarifying information if we need to get more, basically more information from either peer review or applicant. But other than that, once the hearing's closed, we'll have our in-house conversation, and that's when we can comment to each other. That's still going to be on the 1623 recording as a conclusion of this whole process, but we'll be out of the hearing at that point. So, okay.
I have a question.
Sure. Microphone, Simone. Sorry.
On the peer review, and this may be a question for you. Number 5, I'm going to use your numbers. Or
You're
whoever's
using my
number,
numbers, okay.
just because it's easier. You wrote, our intent is to remove the wetland overlay district. What does that mean? That is on page 6.
Right, yep. And that was just, honestly, that was a note to myself regarding, because we're still including a condition in the decision that addresses the Wetland Protection Overlay District. But in working through this whole process, we've realized that our Wetland Protection Overlay District is really outdated, because the maps that we have of the wetlands are from 1974. And we know those things creep, and also any project that is close to wetlands is going to be going through the Concom anyway. So it's kind of redundant, and our wetland protection overlay district maps are not as thorough as any wetland mapping that an applicant will come in with anyway. So that was kind of a parenthetical note to us.
That we need to do something about it. Okay.
Yeah, later, much later.
So one of the peer review comments was that there is a section on parks that we can or cannot require, and it appears that we haven't ever discussed it unless I'm not aware of it, and I just wondered what people's feelings were about that.
What page of the peer review is that on? Because I think it's parks comes from our rules and regulations and talks about parks in a subdivision. And I think we did touch on this, and I can look back, but because this is an OSRD, there's not really an opportunity to have any parkland within the residential allotted area itself, because it's so tight already. And then the whole point of the OSRD is to have the open space. Excuse me.
And so that was a decision that was made consciously.
Yeah, I think we did talk about the fact that,
Somehow printed this
that
upside down.
parks aren't really part of the OSRD model, but Val has something to add to that, Val? Val, you're muted. Sorry, hold on.
Sorry, that language is dated in terms of subdivision control. That's from long ago times and isn't something that is currently considered as viable as it was when it was first thought of. And so, but I agree, it's not really relevant to this decision because it is going to have a lot of open space related to the development.
I guess it depends on whether that open space is considered public.
We do touch on that at the very end of the decision. We do have we had a discussion with the applicant regarding public access, and that condition has been included in our decision that while we cannot ask for public access because that's essentially taking a land, but we can accept public access if it's offered by the applicant, which it has been, and that is formalized, and I think it's one of the very last decisions, one of the last conditions of our decision, so that there is indeed public access to the open space.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. I'm just curious, is everyone in agreement with the park comment? Do you guys know which one I'm talking about? Sorry, there are a lot of pages, so. Does anyone else notice this comment? So. Well, I'll have to find it. Also, I guess when we were talking about the perimeter trees, and then I was looking at his comments on the protection of natural features. So we are not expecting to protect any natural features in the development zone.
Correct.
Okay. So if there are nice trees there that could be saved, we're not going to do that.
If they could be saved, they probably won't take them down, because if there's not a reason to take them down, they're not going to make extra work. But that was a discussion we had at the last meeting with the applicant about the fact that because this is such a condensed quarter-acre lot subdivision, that there's really not an opportunity to do the grading and the work that they need to do while the trees are still there.
So that you're just going to clear cut. You're not going to assess any trees, is what it sounds like. Mm-hmm.
For the record, Will Scooter from the Moore and Cameron Group. Yeah, that's correct. Because this is a dense development, the grading requirements, we're not going to be preserving the trees within the limit of work.
Does that microphone not work? Or does it need batteries? There you go. You're an engineer, you can figure that out.
Maybe.
So, does anyone have questions for Weston and Sampson regarding any of the guidance that they've offered in their feedback? Yeah, you don't have to, I'm just giving you the opportunity. I don't think we have, do we have any members of other departments, boards, or committees on the line tonight? And just, we can come back planning board. I just want to see if anyone else from Town of Essex departments, boards, or committees is online and has any questions, not so much for the planning board, but these are questions for either Weston and Sampson, our peer reviewer, or for Warren Cameron, the applicant's engineer. And I'm not seeing anyone, but if someone is there and does have a question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll continue on. Simone, did you have other questions?
No, I was just going to see if I could find the park thing, but we can.
Okay. We can come back to that when we're doing our deliberation, because that's more an internal planning board decision kind of thing. Okay. I'm just making sure I check all the boxes here from Teresa. So at this point then, We have not had any more public comments since our last meeting, and what we're going to do now is open the floor to comments from the public. So this is the final opportunity for the public to comment on this process. We have a couple people in the room, but more people online. So if you're online and want to offer public comment before we close the hearing, this is your opportunity. Please raise your hand and we will unmute you and let you speak. Okay, not all at once. All right, I'm not seeing any public comment, either online or in the room here this evening, public comment. So that said, prior to closing the hearing, one of my duties is to read in a list of public comment that we have received during this hearing process. These materials are all available on the Planning Board's webpage, where we have a whole tab set up for the OSRD. And these are the following emails that we've received as public comment during the definitive subdivision plan period, which has been from January 22nd, 2026 through June 17th, 2026. With messages and replies to follow. January 23rd, we heard from Josh Franklin at 11 Turtleback Road. February 5th, 2026, Emily Comstock, no address. Again, March 2nd, Emily Comstock, no address. March 4th, Dorothy Elwell from 4 Essex Park Road. March 20th, Jay and Mary Tetzloff and family from 98 Western Avenue. March 31st, Paula Johnson, 4 Essex Park Road. April 11th, Bob Smith from 29 Pond Street. April 12th, 2026, Patrice Murphy of the Essex Essex Conservation Trust. April 14th, Ken and Holly Reel. June 1st, Peter Ferrario, no address given. Additional public input emails received before the vote takes place will be added to this compilation and updated if any are received. But the hearing is closing tonight, so that's no longer an option. That said, I take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Shelley. Second?
Second?
Thank you, Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ariel?
Aye.
Thank you.
Said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. So the hearing is officially closed, and we will move into our next step of reviewing the draft decision and deliberating and making any changes that the board agrees on to the draft. And at the conclusion of that, we will take a vote on the decision. I'm sorry, prior to that, we have a process waiver that this is sort of a formality that I want to go through. Amy will help me with this when I stumble upon it. In our subdivision rules and regulations, there is a section which is 6.13 of our rules and regulations that says if the applicant submits a modification to the plan, then the other boards and the planning board has to send that modified materials to the other boards and committees that are listed in the subdivision control law for their review, and they get an opportunity to review that is 35 days long, and the Board of Health gets a review period that's 45 days long. What is problematic about the language in our rules and regs is that modification of the plan is not defined. In the industry, a modified plan is typically a change to a plan that it's already been approved. So say tonight we approve the plans, and then in the process of going through the NOI or the septic design or something, the plans become modified. They come back to us as modified plans, and that's when that would kick in. Normally, our bylaw doesn't describe exactly what's called a modified plan. So there's a gray fuzzy area about the fact that, we had submittal in January from the applicant. We went back and forth with the peer review. They made some updates and some addenda and things like that. They haven't changed the roads, they haven't changed the lotting, they haven't changed the location of the septic. They eliminated one drainage basin, which is hardly, I mean, that's not like adding one, taking one away is simpler. So it's unclear whether that would technically rise to a modification or not, since we don't have a definition in our rules and regs of what a modification is. What's problematic about this is that this process gives a 90-day period for us to do the review. So if after all the time of going back and forth with the peer review and getting changes and updates from the applicant, if we needed another 35 days for the other boards and committees to review that, we would be out of our time frame and the applicant would be granted a constructive approval. So it's just a backwards kind of wording in our bylaw that would seemingly make us default to a situation where we couldn't meet the deadline if we followed those rules to the letter of the T. So what this process waiver is just a formality to go on record to say that the planning board understands this irregularity in our rules and regulations, which will also be updated. But so, so the rules and regulations that are in place at the time the application was submitted are the ones that we have to work with. But when they're unclear like this, the point of this waiver, of waiving this section in that 35-day review period requirement, is simply to sort of cross that T and dot that I to make sure that it's not problematic down the road for any reason, until we have a chance to go revisit our rules and regulations and define what modified plans are. So if you guys have questions about that, I'm going to defer to Amy because she's the one who explained all that to me, and if I screwed it up, she can correct it. You have a mic there if you need it. Do you guys have any questions about that? No one's trying to pull a fast one or anything. It's just an abnormality in the way our rules and regulations are written.
So are you saying we won't have time to review them then?
What?
We won't review them then? I'm just trying.
No, they are reviewed, but you don't have to send them out again to the Board of Health and other boards like you do
After
the first
we
time.
review them. Okay.
So there's hardly ever a project that comes in with a plan and that plan is exactly the same when you vote on it.
Yeah.
Especially with peer review.
Well, we got all these conditions. and
Yeah,
stuff.
things like that. They address comments, address concerns. So this section of your bylaw is very problematic because it adds a certain amount of time that's past the 90 days or the 100 days that you have to work with. So it should be waived today, but it should be changed. I've never seen this before.
Well, Essex is special.
Could you explain again, though, why it should be waived?
So this provision, it provides that when there's any change to a plan, that it has to go back out, it has to essentially start over again. And under the subdivision control law, under the actual state statute, you don't have that ability to start things over again. So the only time that you can add time to the statutory time limit is by written consent from the applicant. This seems to require that extra time just automatically happen. And if you went with this, the applicant didn't agree to didn't issue a written extension, the applicant, after a certain amount of days pursuant to the statute, can just get a constructive approval. And then you lose all control over the plans.
So the state law overrides this
Definitely.
clause.
So when you look at,
And our rules or regulations are in conflict with state law, which is the problematic part.
so when you look at, you have statutes, you have bylaws, and then you have regulations. So it's pretty far down, considering it's the statute that it's in conflict with.
So even though the state overrides it, we're just doing this formality just to,
Because it's still in your,
it's still
it's still in
there,
your
and we don't
rules and
want
regs.
them to come. Okay, great.
And the other thing that's our bylaw isn't even clear that the changes, the level of changes that have been made through the peer review process would even really rise to modified plans. Because, the example I used is if they go through the NOI and something drastically changes about the wetland crossing and a lot moves and something like that, that's a substantive change that would be a modified plan. But none of the stuff that has happened in this peer review process has substantially altered the plans to a point that if modified plans was defined somewhere, we would be able to say whether it was a modification or not, which is what we'll be adding to. So, so the motion for the process waiver is, I will take a motion to waive strict compliance with the requirements of section 6.1.3 of the Town of Essex Rules and Regulations relative to subdivision control, in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 41, Section 81R, and the Town of Essex Rules and Regulations relative to subdivision control, Section 1.3, after finding that it is in the public interest and not inconsistent with the intent and purpose of the subdivision control law.
So moved.
Thank you, Beth. Second?
Second?
Thank you, Peter. Questions, any discussion or further comment on that?
So we're doing a roll call vote on this?
Yep, yeah. So, go around the table.
Peter Lipser, aye.
Beth Walsh, aye.
Simone Early, aye.
Shelley Bradbury, aye.
Ariel Brain, aye.
Lisa O'Donnell, aye. All right, thank you. That was our, just to keep things interesting, part of the evening. So then, next up, before we dive into the rest of the decision, the waivers that have been requested by the applicant are listed on page 5 of the PDF document. And just to, as we talk through this, to just describe what is in front of you. This big set of paper here is the Word draft of the file. And that has all the changes tracked since the draft that I emailed Sunday night. And the only thing that Teresa took out of that draft was the references that I put in there about the conditions and how they related to my numbering of the issues in Weston and Sampson's report. Since that was not really part of the document, that was just to help everyone connect the dots from what Weston and Sampson had suggested in their peer review as conditions of the decision. And that was just my exercise in making sure that everything that Weston and Sampson recommended be a condition of the decision actually make it into. So that, I believe, has been done, and they're still all there. So this version, the Word version here, has a lot of comments that Teresa did just as far as formatting goes and making sure all our references were correct and citing all the documentation that's part of the process. And then the PDF file that's in front of you is what it would look like if those changes in the Word draft were accepted. There's one highlighted thing that we're going to get to in a little bit that is still a question. But other than that, most of them have been cleared up. So for the purposes of talking about the waivers, I think it's more instructive to look at the Word draft because that has some tracking on changes and comments that were made in our process. The PDF draft assumes that the waivers are accepted, so that's obviously not the case yet since we haven't talked through them and discussed any changes or nuance to any of them. So right now what I'd like to do is to walk through the waivers and understand each of them, and if you guys have questions or concerns, we'll talk about those. We have feedback from both the applicant and some boards and departments in town, as well as guidance from Weston and Sampson on those items. So the first waiver, which we did add numbers to the waivers just to be able to refer to them more easily. So waiver number 1 is asking to increase the pavement thickness to 4 inches from 3 inches, which is kind of a no-brainer. And the DPW supports that, obviously. So unless anyone has questions on that, we'll move to waiver number 2. You show bearings and distances, radii, arc, central angle, and tangent distances on the lotting plan instead of on the plan and profile sheet. All dimensions are shown on the lotting plans. And we had talked about this in the past, so there's not any missing information. It's just showing some of the information on a different location. So that seemed reasonable. And if anyone, I'm just going to walk through these, and if and when you have comment, please chime in. Section 6-3.3 says to show proposed sidewalk grades on the site plan instead of plan and profile sheet. Sidewalks are linear along the roadway and grading is shown on the site plan. Again, that's just nuance of how the information is shown. And I don't think we had any concerns with that. Then show all the requirements of the construction plan contents on the definitive plan set. Information required on the construction plan is shown on the definitive subdivision plans. The language around granting the waiver there asks for the final plans for endorsement shall include a note that lists items of the construction plan content that are included on the definitive plan set. And this is just taking the list from what is in our rules and regulations and adding a note to say this information required on the construction plan as follows is shown here. So it's just because of the way our rules and regulations are written, just to make that clear. Section 6.4.3 is show the limit of the tree line instead of the individual trees over 12-inch diameter at breast height. The existing site is wooded and will require clearing within the limit of work for grading construction of the proposed subdivision. The language around granting this waiver says that we recognize that this particular style of development, the OSRD, has significant open space that will be provided. And then what we talked about in the last meeting was is documenting all the trees that are just beyond the limit of work. So this language says that prior to clearing any trees from the site, the limit of work shall be laid out with survey flags or stakes for the entire area planned to be developed, and all trees of the 12-inch or greater diameter breast height located outside of but within 10 feet of the said limit of work shall be marked and the locations recorded by the surveyors, and a plan of these tree locations shall be provided to the building inspector and planning board before the start of any clearing. So that's an instrument that will memorialize all of the larger trees just beyond the limit of work so that we can ensure that they are preserved. So does that appear to be consistent with the conversation we had at our last meeting?
Yes, I believe so.
I do have a question. Later on, we talk about the initial site visit, and that is to also look at the limit of work, et cetera. Are there any conflicts in here with that? Will this come to us after or before that meeting?
I don't know. They're not. There's the limit of work would need to be laid out ahead of that site walk, because that's part of what we're walking is the limit of the work. So that information should be recorded whether we have the plans or not. It's a matter of timing. It's something that you could require if you wanted.
That it's after it's been reviewed by the, our construction inspector or whoever.
Well, I think what you're saying is that we would have this plan in hand before the site walk.
Okay.
Was that what you would like to add, do you think? I mean, I think that's reasonable.
Either before or after. I mean, I think the site walk on some level may help define what they are, but...
Well, the idea here is that when the surveyors lay out, they'll be out there with all their measuring things, and they'd be the ones who flagging the tree. So they'll flag the trees. So when we do the site walk, the trees are actually going to be taped or marked or painted or something like that. So we'll be able to have the plan and see the trees at that time.
Okay, yeah, so before then, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just add here, a plan of these tree locations shall be provided to the building inspector and planning before the start of any clearing and before the site walk.
Yeah.
Everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will the silt fence be in place by then?
I'm sorry?
The silt fence demarcating the edge of work, or the mulch stock? Just so we know.
Yeah,
It will be.
there will, yeah, there is.
So it's super clear.
It's going to be very clear when we're out there. I forget what Will said, but the limit of work is going to be laid out
Okay.
in survey stakes, and it'll be very visible on the ground when we do the site work.
With the silt fence around in place for the sidewalk,
I
right?
I think he's, not the silt fence, because that's the thing that can get, but they'll put the straw wattles or something, yeah.
Okay.
The what?
Straw wattle, so there'd be a...
The mulch
Those-
stock. Yeah.
Yeah, the straw things. So, it shall be provided to the building inspector and planning board before the start of any clearing and before the scheduled site walk referenced in condition. And then I will find the number of that condition and add that number in. So the language there is going to be, and before the scheduled reference, before the scheduled site walk, important word there. So what I'm adding to the end of that sentence is, well, the sentence will read, a plan of these tree locations shall be provided to the building inspector and planning board before the start of any clearing and before the scheduled site walk referenced in condition, and then I'll find the number of that condition that talks about the site walk. Section 7.1.9 not include street lighting. This will help maintain the rural character of the proposed neighborhoods. Lighting will be provided via individual lots. And I think we had talked about this and agreed that no lighting would be preferable, actually. Val wants to say something, thank you. Go ahead, Val, sorry.
Sorry,
We have a little
can
sign
we,
here, you know. Little
can
Val
we
wants to
add a-
say something sign.
yeah, I need a little gong or something. Can we add something that says it will be provided via individual lampposts on the individual lots?
That says what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Lighting will be provided via individual lampposts on the individual lots.
Oh, okay, right.
So it's
Oh,
inserting
it says lighting will be provided via individual lots.
She wants to add lampposts. She wants to add, be provided via
Lampposts.
lamppost on individual lots.
Okay, so we're adding via lamp posts on individual lots, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that we know there's a lamppost there and it lights up, that it can be, it'll be providing some light.
Will those, just a thought, will those lampposts all be the same? Or it just depends on the,
It's going to depend on how the buyer and how they construct the lots.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing, if one home builder came in and developed the whole site and built all the houses ahead of time, instead of individual people buying lots and putting up, so it's going to depend on that. So if a home builder came in and put 36 houses up, chances are they will be the same, because it's easier to order 36 of this light than.
but are we specifying where, like, the lamppost is? Is it,
I don't, it's on their lot, so I don't think, it's out of the right-of-way that would be in our control. Streetlights would be in our right-of-way, but once it's on an individual lot, that's up to them. But it will have this much impervious area.
okay.
So, to that point, if we don't tell them where these lamp posts can be, I can actually see people putting them in the backyard.
Right.
So you
What?
can say within 35 feet of the right-of-way.
That's what I was going to suggest. They have to be so far within the right of way, and they have to be a certain brightness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
Those-
recommend 35 feet of the right away, but I don't recommend specifying the design in lumens.
I don't care about the design, it's the brightness of the light. Either some people
That's
put
the
a,
lumen, correct.
right? You know, some could be too bright and blinding people, other ones would be too low and not providing any light. So we have some type of
Should
range
be.
that we might be able to say,
Yeah.
just so we have some control. And the other thing, if we can, put it that the homeowner association are responsible for making sure they're maintained.
We can add that to the homeowner. We have conditions in here that require review of the homeowner association. In fact, we could put all that in the homeowner association.
That way I have the homeowners to chase, not each individual.
Right, but when we get to because there's, separate from this whole process is going to be developing those homeowner association documents and getting our approval and Amy's review of them. And in that process, we can say, we can talk about light brightness and we can talk about light color too.
Right, it doesn't have to be specific, just a range.
Right.
Is what I'd recommend.
Right. And I think we probably could also, at that point, address where on the lot it goes, or should we put it in here?
I guess I would try for the homeowners association, because you guys can't control what goes on the lot.
Okay. So any kind of guidance around what the light looks like is going to be in the homeowner documents. We'll have input into that, but it's not part of our jurisdiction because now we're treading onto the lots.
I mean, it feels like having a light post on a lot is defeating the purpose of not having streetlights. I mean, why do we want to require that?
I don't know that we're requiring.
Well, we are.
There you are.
If I may, and
That's what you're here for, please do.
although I do want to tread lightly, because I do think that this is a policy question, which means that's up to you guys, not a legal question. From a legal standpoint, the way that the language was before, lighting will be provided via individual lots, was acceptable. Because no matter what, there's going to be lighting, whether it comes from a light in the window, or people put up a lamppost, or people put up landscape lighting, but that's nothing, we can't control what happens on the individual lot. Adding lampposts may be okay, but then we're talking within 35 feet, then we're talking about the type of lighting or the brightness of the lighting. I think we're getting further and further away from your jurisdiction.
Well, it also
And
feels like if we're trying to do rural, it's,
on that, yeah. If you're trying to preserve the rural character,
Yeah,
if not, then make them do streetlights.
yeah.
If the concern is safety, make them do streetlights.
Because those we can control, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there's not been any safety concerns raised, and in all other developments around town like this, there are no streetlights.
Yeah, it just feels like, but are there required other lights? I mean, why are we going to require them to put any particular light?
You're saying, why does our subdivision rules?
Well, so they're asking for a waiver not to include street lights. This will help maintain the rural character. I don't know who wrote that part, but then we're saying, but we want lights on all our lots. I just feel like we should not require lights. If you're a homeowner that wants a light, then you put one. If you don't want one, then you don't. I mean, some people will put them on their garage, some people will, everyone will have an opinion about where the light should be, whether it's on a pole or on a
Landscape
walkway or...
So is this written more as just a reference that the lighting for the area will be provided by individual lots, just the lights that comes off the light? Was that the intention of this? And we're misinterpreting what that was intended to be.
Right, so we can't actually strike lighting will be provided via individual lots, because that's the language that came from the applicant.
You can. Yeah.
That explains it a little
Yeah,
bit.
you can just delete that language.
Oh, we can?
You can.
So do you guys want to leave that sentence that the applicant provided about lights, or do you just want to take that sentence about lighting out
Or
entirely?
say, I mean, I don't want them to feel like they can't put lighting, so it could be lighting will be provided via individual lots if desired, or, you know, some legal word.
I would leave it in, yeah.
Yeah, lighting may be.
Lighting
Yeah, so
may be
let's,
provided.
exactly, let's just change it to may. And do we want to include lampposts or not say lampposts so that we
Yeah, no.
allow for other
Yeah, whatever they
types
want to
of
do.
lighting, like landscape lighting, okay. So we're not saying lampposts, sorry, Val.
Sorry, Val.
And we're saying lighting may be provided via individual lots. So that's what we're changing the language there. And we can change their waiver language?
Oh, yeah,
Apparently we can.
yes, yes. The waiver that they're asking for is not include street lighting. The rest of it is dicta on their part. They're
Okay.
yeah.
So, at the end of the day, what, 7.1? So waiver number 6 now reads, not include street lighting. This will help maintain the rural character of the proposed neighborhoods. Lighting may be provided via individual lots. Moving on, waiver 7, 7.2.2.f, intersect Essex Park Road at 59 degrees instead of 60-degree minimum. The slight modification of the angle allows for a straighter road section with less wetland alteration than required. So we haven't had any objection to this. Just to clarify again, the intersection with Essex Park Road isn't a conventional intersection in the usual sense, and so that 60-degree is considered more for cross streets, and this, what is technically an intersection here, is really a bend in the road to go up into Essex Park Road. So we had, in the past, not had an issue with this. Section 7.2.2.I, allow for a dead-end length greater than 1,200-foot length, and emergency access roadway is provided. This has already been granted both in our preliminary decision, and it is memorialized in the special permit for the OSRD, so this pretty much has to stay as is. And we do have the access road, and the access road has been reviewed by Public Safety and DPW, and they're all on board with that. Section 7.2.4.A.4, allow a 5% slope within 50 feet of intersections where 3% is required. Increasing to a 5% allows for a reduction in the cut and fill requirement. The clarification we've added here, this waiver is granted for the condition that includes Road A where it intersects Road B, and for Road A where it intersects Road C, and for Road A where it joins Essex Park Road. So each of these locations deserves a little bit more investigation and discussion, just so everyone understands what I have learned in the recent couple of days regarding this. Jesse has provided feedback on this, and again, something that we'll probably look at later in our own subdivision rules and regulations is that limiting the angle at an intersection is typically intended for a road tying in where you need to stop. So that would mean in this subdivision, as Road A passes both Road B and Road C coming off of it, Road A is the road in question that is at 5% slope. Road B and C, where it ties in, those roads that have to stop before they enter Road A are both at less than 2% slope. So the roads that need to stop are at an allowable slope. It's the road that goes past them that's a 5-degree slope. So the intent of that kind of regulation has been met, but because our because our rules and regulations don't distinguish between the road that goes straight and a road that intersects. Like if you had a 4-way intersection, that would be different. Where everyone stopped, it would be different. But here, Road A goes past, and Road C and B and C stop. So the criteria isn't as important for Road A, since that traffic is continuing and not actually stopping. So that's why this should be reasonable for those conditions. So the other situation is where Essex Park Road, at that intersection we just talked about, where Road A joins Essex Park Road, what you have there is the road is coming down the hill at a curve. So it goes from a 4% grade at 50 feet quickly down to 3%, and then flattens out by the time it gets to the intersection. So technically within that 50 feet, there is a portion of it that's within 4%. Jesse has opined in an email earlier today that is in the folder of all our materials that says that 4% grade is not really a significant change from 3% if you consider over that 50-foot length. A 3% rise is 1.5 feet, and a 4% rise is 2 feet. So we're talking about the difference of 6 inches over that 50 feet. And therefore, it seemed reasonable for a sort of dead-end residential road where your speeds wouldn't exceed 25 miles an hour. So that was the logic there. On this, I have also spoken to both the fire chief and the police chief today and went through all of this with the drawings and everything, and they were both fine with it. And again, just as a point of reference, the maximum slope that's allowed in our rules and regulations is 8%. So there are parts of Road A that are 8%, but they're not near not near any intersections. So I don't know if anyone has thoughts on that. It seems reasonable.
And the purpose of that waiver is just to reduce the cut and fill?
It's to reduce cut and fill, but also if you look at the profile of Road A, what the profile achieves is there's sort of a leveling out over the wetlands crossing. So what that does is manage, like if we flattened out the 8% and raised the 3%, that actually widens the area of wetlands that's affected by the crossing. So it's also intended to sort of minimize the impact to the wetlands at the crossing, which is theoretically a desirable goal of working around wetlands is not to impact them. Are we set with that, or any other questions? Section 7.2.4, use of high-density polyethylene HDPE drainage pipe instead of using a reinforced concrete pipe, RCP. HDPE is an industry standard pipe material used for drainage pipes. We did get feedback from both the Department of Public Works and the Board of Public Works, who discussed this at their last meeting, and they are entirely fine with it. And in fact, our stormwater management regulations specify HDPE for handling stormwater. And then, last but not least, allow tree locations as shown instead of tree spacing at approximately 75 feet. The OSRD does not allow for typical spacing of 75 feet. Instead, the proposed development calculate the total frontage and proposes a total amount of trees equal to 1 tree per 75 linear feet of frontage. So the intent here was to provide the same number of trees if they met the requirement exactly, but I know we did have some discussion about this, so I don't know if we want to talk about that again.
Excuse me.
I think this is a better design feature. The yards are small and there's open gaps where there can be groups of trees where they grow better instead of formal spacing.
Yeah,
So-
just every...
Yeah.
Madam Chair, is the plan defined earlier in the decision? If it's not, I think it should say, allow tree location as shown on the plan instead of just as shown
Okay, so we're adding as shown
on the plan.
as plans.
Yeah. Yes, the plan is capitalized, so capital, and then capital P plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll add that in. Any other discussion on those trees? We are getting the same number of trees as we would otherwise. Simone?
You know, I live in the tree hugger house, so I'm good. I feel like the requirement is not a minimum, it's not a maximum, it's a minimum. And if we could include trees to meet the requirement, that we would then have more trees. But I hear what Beth is saying about the layout.
It's more of an
potentially
irregular
being
spacing.
better, so,
Okay. All right. So we are through the waivers. Imagine that. And look, we have here,
And I know Matt had raised questions about the road, but he read everything and
right,
all
and that's what prompted a lot of the conversation about the intersection, and that is also a revision in the drainage, because he was worried about the water coming down to that intersection. So they've regraded the road, and there's the foxhole drainage manhole. So that, I think, is, because Matt did talk to both Jesse and Will, or
Yeah.
Matt talked to Jesse, and Jesse talked to Will about this, and they made some changes
Yeah.
to account for Matt's concerns.
Yeah, and I read those emails. I just wanted to make sure Matt's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his daughter graduated from 5th grade tonight, which is pretty amazing.
Mine did too. Mine did too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, the ceremony's over, so they're all at Woodman's now.
All right. So we have been through the waivers. I will take a motion to grant a waiver of strict compliance with the requirements of the section of the Town of Essex Rules and Regulations relative to subdivision control in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 81R, and Town of Essex Rules and Regulations relative to subdivision control 1.3, and after finding that it is in the public interest and not inconsistent with the intent and purpose of the subdivision control law as written in the definitive subdivision plan decision. Take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Beth. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Shelley. This is a roll call vote.
Peter Lover, aye.
Beth Walsh, aye.
Simone Early, aye.
Shelley Bradbury, aye.
Ariel Brain, nay.
Lisa O'Donnell, aye. The motion passes 5-1. All right, so now we move into, sorry, I have too much paper here. Now we move into a review of the decision itself. So the waivers were listed on, I'm again going to the big version here. And then on page 5 here, the conditions start. So I don't know how much detail you guys want to go through these. I'm willing to talk through anything that you have questions on. What I will do is just sort of bounce through them, and if we get to something that you want to talk about, we will stop and do that. So the first condition just references a special permit, which is sort of a formality.
Can we start before that line?
I'm sorry?
Can we start before that line? So where it says the planning board approves the definitive plan dated blah, 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 subject to the following conditions. Who's going to verify the conditions are met? Bill, can we say as verified, or in some language that says the building inspector will verify it? I mean, right now, it has no person assigned
I-
to verify, doesn't it?
Madam Chair?
Mhm.
You're going to have both the building inspector who enforces the zoning, and you're going to have like a clerk or the works person that's inspecting on behalf of the planning board. So it's not just Bill, because he's doing the zoning. It's going to be your personal inspector, whoever that might be. But I don't think it's necessary to specify it in the decision.
But so in all decisions, right, there, I feel there should be one person who is the control that says, okay, verified, if it's the building and the clerk of the works, if it's Bill and it's DPW, I mean, who's in charge?
It's going to vary depending on the condition. So I don't think you can have one individual person that's responsible. You could say that you're going to have you yourselves are going to verify some of it. So,
But then we're going to have each one have who's associated with the verification, I feel. I mean,
I
otherwise,
disagree.
there are several on here that I'm like, who is checking this? Is it us? Is it Bill?
That's not a normal part of a decision, and so I respectfully disagree.
I know I'm going to be sorry for saying this, but the ultimate decision comes with me. So you hire a clerk of works who's going to go out and monitor this. He has a question, whether something needs answering. It's going to come back to me to make that
Yeah.
decision.
I mean,
But
I agree
in
with you.
reality is a lot of people who are going to be through this, and they're just going to do their job and assure that everything's correct,
Right.
right?
Which is different than being the person who is responsible to say, yes, it was done, no matter who checked it, right?
Right. So ultimately, that would be me, because that falls onto my job, to assure that everything was done correctly.
And you're saying that's just understood?
Yeah, I think it's understood, and I
It's
think...
understood?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to look to you to say, yes, it was all verified.
Yes.
Okay. And then I also feel that the conditions should be submitted with any request regarding the subdivision, so that, say, there is a zoning request, that the list of conditions is part of every request that comes out of the subdivision. I don't know where we put something like that in, so that there isn't this back end, where is it, who had it, you know. There's going to be, let's say in 15 years, they're making changes, you're not here, you don't know, you know, whoever is.
So this will be recorded, and, it will be in the chain of title of each lot that's sold out.
So whenever they're submitting something to zoning, it'll go with it?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
This,
Particularly because it's I'm sorry.
you're talking about this decision gets
Yeah.
recorded?
Yeah.
Right.
Particularly because it's an OSRD, which allows for reduced lots, it allows for some zoning, relaxation of zoning. So it would definitely be
Part of
referenced
every-
later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
So the second condition talks about the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. And the first two conditions define, most of the language here is explaining and memorializing what is and is not allowed for each lot. So there's a table on sheet 27 that has an impervious cover percentage of 10, that meets the 10% of the whole lot, and that's the basis of the stormwater management system. So the language in here says that you are allowed, a property owner is allowed up to, it's not 10% of his lot because it's a number that relates to the 10% coverage of the total lot, is allowed by right that number because that's what the stormwater management system has been designed for. There's also a 15% maximum cap that is given in the Wetland Water Resource Protection Overlay District. And if anyone were ever to exceed that 15% cap, that's a special permit that comes before this board. So the other set of numbers is a 15% cap. And both of these numbers will be recorded on the deed of each property. It's recorded in these drawings, and it's recorded on the, it's recorded in this decision and recorded on the drawings on sheet 27. And it's, the language in here spells out that if someone exceeds the 10%, So there's somewhere between 10 and 15% of the lot coverage. They need to provide additional stormwater mitigation because that additional coverage is not supported by the stormwater mitigation design of the subdivision. And that language will carry with the deeds as well. And there's a condition that requires each plot plan, each site plan to have those two areas listed on the site plan. Then that comes in with any kind of a building permit. There's also a condition in here, the last one, so the homeowner document shall include requirements that any new impervious surface not subject to a building permit, which would be a shed, patio, at-grade deck, or walkway, which are things that don't trigger a building permit but are impervious, is subject to prior approval by the HOA. So for those things that aren't controlled by a building permit, we still have a condition in here that would require the HOA to approve that and submit that to the building department, that they have not exceeded their 10% of coverage. And then if they do exceed the 10% of coverage, they're coming back with additional stormwater mitigation measures on their property.
I just have one question that I just need clarifying because I don't understand it. The facility is built for 10%.
Correct. Yep.
Any extra of an individual lot, they have to mitigate. This is the point where I don't understand in the mitigation of that particular lot, stormwater or runoff. Won't it just all go towards?
It's how fast it runs off. Because yes, all the stormwater someday is going to flow down the hill. But what impervious surfaces do is increase how fast it sheds. So if you add a patio that's going to shed the rain faster, then you may need to go add a rain garden at the edge of your property that's going to capture that before it gets to the stormwater management system of the whole subdivision.
Right, but where does that rainwater, then water go in
It
that
still goes into the
system?
ground, because it would do that
In
anyway.
their property ground?
But all the rainwater is going to all go into the ground
Sure,
everywhere
Sure.
anyway, but it's just the rate at which it flows.
okay, okay.
And so those rain gardens that we see from time to time when we're doing properties in the wetland protection, it's just it's a big sponge that's going to sit there and hold things so that they seep out at a slower rate. That's more, so if you picture an undeveloped parcel and it rains on it, there's a rate that the stormwater soaks into the ground. And they're just basically trying to mimic that by an area that sheds stormwater, somehow it's captured so that it is diffused into the ground at the same rate and you're not getting runoff or erosion, that kind of thing.
Understood. Thank you.
Did that make sense, Bill?
Yes. Well, very well explained.
Right?
I think it was a very good job explaining it.
So that's what someone would have to do on their property. You know, we've seen, we did that house down on Redgate Road or something, I forget where they had to put in that little stormwater swale around because they were adding a garage or something. So they just basically had to slow the water down that came off of the garage before it could leave the
Yeah,
building.
I understand all that. It's just like 36 houses and everyone's adjusting and everything's going down. I just didn't understand.
That's what the whole stormwater
Slowing.
system is
Okay.
for, and that's why we have all these drainage basins and all that stuff
Yeah.
on the property, just to retain it. It's a retention basin that actually holds it long enough to allow it to seep at a natural
Slowly.
rate instead of a runoff rate.
Thank you.
So does anyone have questions on any of the pieces, parts in section 2, condition 2? So condition 3 is the one that we touched on earlier, that basically says, don't mess up the wetlands protection overlay district as long as that lives. So typically work in or near wetlands is governed by the Wetland Protection Act, so it should be noted that any activities restricted by this overlay district or future encroachments into areas denoted on the reference map shall be prohibited. So that's really just sort of addressing the fact that there are, basically what shows up on the 1974 maps is the area of Alewife Brook that's on the sort of southwest corner of the property that's in the open space anyway. So this is just in case, nothing's going to happen there anyway, but this is just in case. Then there's several conditions in item 4, which include things that are going to be updated on the set of drawings. So we have a set of drawings right now that's been submitted, that is the record drawings. The process from here out, assuming that we vote in favor of this decision, which puts the restrictions on the next steps of the development, they come back with a set of Mylars that we look like, it's like what we usually use for the A&Rs, and that's the record set, that's the endorsed set, that's the set we'll sign. So between now and when they come back with they won't be back with the endorsed plans until the appeal period has expired, and or if there are any appeals, until those are resolved. And then when either the appeal period has expired or any appeals have been resolved, they will come back to us with a set of plans to be endorsed. And at that point, we check these additional conditions, which are listed here, to make sure that those are being incorporated into the plans we're going to endorse. And so some of these these actually came mostly out of the Weston and Sampson review for some details that need to be filled in. And the question we had here, and this is for Val and or Amy, this talks about the planning board covenant, and the covenant should be recorded with the plans. So I'm just looking for someone to explain, other than me, what the covenant is and how that gets recorded with the plans. Val?
Sure. Under subdivision control law, there's a thing called a planning board covenant, which is where the future developer promises not to sell individual lots unless and until they have built enough of the roadway that you're allowing them to release the lots from the covenant. So the covenant is a standard subdivision control paper or agreement that's part of subdivision rules and regulations, and this guidance. It's the same for every town, and you normally would enter into that covenant prior to endorsing the plans. And you would do that here and then have that be recorded with the plans. And the reason why is that if it isn't noted on the lotting sheet, it's easier for someone to try and sell an individual lot to a buyer who would then not be protected in terms of having adequate ways and facilities constructed to support the home.
Okay. So that's something that we'll be working on between now and when the endorsed plans surface, that we would prepare with you and Amy and get that squared away? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a simple 2 or 3 page document that is standard, and we would provide that to the applicant to sign before they come in, and then before they came in for endorsement, and then at the same night, you would vote to enter into the covenant, and then you would vote to endorse the plans.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions on that?
What number are you on?
Amy, anything to add? No. Okay.
Okay, it is 4A, all right.
I'm sorry?
Who writes that? Does Amy write that, or does the applicant?
It's standard language, so we're just going to adapt it. Your town planner will do it, and we can vet it with Amy.
Okay, thank you.
Planning lists will be updated to exclude invasives.
Of course, I have comments on that.
I'm sorry?
I have a comment on that. I was supposed to email you some other language, but I did not. I don't think that is quite accurate. I think it should say street trees, because there's no other planting identified on this plan, shall be modified to exclude species listed as invasive or likely invasive as determined by MIPAG, which is MEPAG, which is the Massachusetts Invasive Plant Advisory Group. I would like to add that they should be native to the Northeast, but that gets into sort of our discussion on lampposts, and I don't know what travels over to allowable recommendations versus design choices.
So whatever you're requiring here is going to be within the infrastructure. So for example, it would be anything in the right-of-way of the street. It would be anything in the drainage facilities, anything like that. I don't see any problem with your proposed condition.
Great.
But I didn't get it, so maybe you can write it down.
Yeah, I actually emailed you
Okay.
entries of something, but I've already revised it because I didn't include MEPAG, but I think they're the legal source for invasive plants in Massachusetts, so.
But Beth, don't you think plantings would be more a broader, not just the trees? Because we're talking about areas where any essentially infrastructure area, so there could be
Around
plantings there.
retention ponds and.
I guess it could say we could keep landscape planting, but none of that is shown on our plan that we're approving now, so I'm not clear on what.
I would keep it broad. I would say landscape planting. And I would say landscape planting and street trees.
Exactly, yep. That's
And if there is no landscape planting, so what?
Right.
Okay,
So will you,
I'm sending it right now.
Will that carry over to landscape planting that's done on the property? No.
no.
no, we can't
In the
control that.
street zone.
But I thought we talked about the retention ponds having plantings sort of around it that.
That's
Yeah.
not-
You can monitor those.
That would be,
Right, because those
Yeah,
are in
because that
easements.
would-
Those
yeah.
are in easements, yeah.
That's infrastructure.
So we're not putting phragmites out in the,
No, so I think we should include the retention ponds, like,
right.
And that would fall under landscape plantings.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I want to keep landscape
When do
planting.
we review those?
I'm sorry?
When do we see those or review those?
The plans.
Prior to endorsement,
What's that? Val?
Prior to endorsement.
prior to endorsement of the plans.
Yeah.
So will you just read that out loud for us again, please? I'm not going to try and write it down because you're going to send it, but when we vote on this, we have to
Landscape,
reference.
it should say landscape
Yeah.
plantings shall be modified to exclude
Oh,
planting.
Beth, I'm so sorry. It should landscape plantings and street trees.
Landscape plantings and street trees shall be modified to exclude plants listed as invasive or likely invasive as identified by MIPHE. I call it MIPAG, but I don't know. Anyway, and should be native to the Northeast United States.
And you are emailing that.
Right this minute.
Okay. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. Board members?
Yep.
Drainage easements shall be updated and accurately shown on the lotting plans. That's just a final detail that the applicant needs to take care of, which they're aware of. Riprap shall be added to FES 8 was a comment from the peer reviewer.
What's FES 8?
Plan.
Is it a page number?
Yeah, it's a page.
No, it's,
I mean, it's not on the title block, so.
Wouldn't it be? Isn't it a plan? Because they want it shown on, added.
is,
It might be
Or
a,
can we just
might be a
add, can we
diagram
just
page.
add the page number to go with it?
You're looking for FES 8.
FESB.
yeah, this was a comment.
An 8.
This was a comment from the peer reviewer that frankly, I just translated because it was just an omission on the plans, so.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it'd
see.
be down at the
Sorry.
end. If it's anywhere.
Yeah.
S8.
Do you know where FES 8 is?
It's onto the inlet that goes before it goes under the road.
FE.
What plan are we looking at?
We really can't.
On two.
If the applicant knows where this is a comment that came from the peer review, and I just copied it down because it's one thing that
Yeah,
needs.
no, I get it. I just think we should, note where it is so that whoever
Help with
is reviewing it can.
Jesse's here. Jesse's going to weigh in for us. Thank you, Jesse.
Sure. For the record, Jesse Johnson, Weston and Sampson. So I believe that's pond 2P that is shown on sheet 30 of 58. It's an outlet, a drainage outlet that discharges into that pond that just did not show riprap. Like all the other FESs or outlet pipes did show it. That was just one that was missed.
I
course,
mean,
adjusting
I
it
think
gets
the
added.
comment is fine, I just want to locate it, that's all.
Comment.
Thank you, Josie.
Thanks.
Is it this right here?
Is that pond 2?
FES two?
FES8.
I think that we can leave the comment as it is, and Bill can work with Jesse or the applicant afterwards to confirm exactly where he needs to check.
Yeah, I mean, even if we just put it on sheet
30 and
30.
58,
Yeah.
that's what I have. Okay.
Oh, right here, FES eight.
So it would be riprap shall be added to FES 8 on sheets 30 and 58.
30 of 58.
Oh, 30 of 58, sorry. Okay. FES 8 and then on sheet 30 of 58. And then thirty of 58.
And that was pond 2?
Yes.
So that will be, read, riprap shall be added to FES 8 in pond 2 on sheet 30 of, it's actually 57 sheets now, one was deleted.
Just do page 30, sheet 30.
Hmm?
Just do sheet 30.
Okay, so just sheet 30, period.
Why do we not have numbers in some of these pages?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, the page numbers.
So it must have been printing out.
Yeah, it was a, okay. We have sheet 30, pond 2 on sheet 30.
I just want to ask this question, I guess. Sheet 35 is a tree planting plan.
Is what?
Tree planting plan. Is there any other landscaping that's going to take place? Do we need to show landscaping on the drainage?
Hearing is closed, we can't talk to the applicant anymore, really. I mean, this is that,
No, I thought it was talking to you.
okay.
Yeah, we determined that there's no other landscaping showing in the set.
So in the drainage ponds and all that, there's no landscaping shown?
No.
So that will be shown prior to endorsement.
Okay, that's what I was
That's
getting
what we
at.
added.
That's what I wanted to make
So
sure.
that's what we just added under 4B.
So we are going to see a tree, we're going to see a planting plan, not a tree planting plan.
Landscape plantings.
Landscape
But did we say that we want?
No, if you actually want a landscape planting plan for all of the infrastructure, that needs to be a condition, because you do not necessarily have that right now. All we have is landscape plantings shall be modified, to exclude plantings. So I think that actually assumes there will be a plan, because where else would they be showing it? But I think you can put, so going back to 4B.
By landscaping plan.
You can put, a landscaping plan shall be provided to show, and then Beth's condition.
So did you?
I'm
but
not
you didn't
clear
talk
that my
about-
condition identifies the drainage infrastructure at all.
Right, so we will.
I mean, are you planning to plant that? I mean, it's likely they could just, they could just be seeding that with a seed mix. I mean, we haven't discussed it, we haven't identified that infrastructure, so we could,
We should know what they're planting it with.
We really should, yeah. So, a landscaping plan shall be provided to designate landscape plantings and street trees to exclude. And then
so
go
what I
forward.
sent, hold on, sorry, I can just pull
So
up what I
then-
just sent you. So what I sent, the language says, landscape plantings and street trees shall be modified to exclude plants listed as invasive or likely invasive as identified by MyPAG. All selected plants and street trees shall be native to the Northeast United States
Right, so we need to add before that, that a landscaping plan shall be provided.
for all infrastructure areas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if they're just seeding those areas,
And they
they
would put
just
that.
show seeded areas.
Correct,
I mean, ideally, they'd share a seed mix.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's good to get the seed mix.
Landscaping plan shall be provided for all infrastructure.
But is there a certain percentage of landscaping that should be met?
We don't have any requirements of it.
I mean,
Could we request that?
it's just, how about if it's just like, it could be the bare minimum, like, shouldn't there be a percentage that they have to at least have?
Have what?
Plantings, trees.
We don't have any requirement in our rules and regulations that talk about that. We can't.
We can't request, like, for example, a landscape architect be involved in the certain
We
percentage
could,
of
but not a week before the deadline. I mean, this is, if that would have been something to talk about really at the preliminary plan stage when we were,
But why can't we add it?
because
Isn't this-
we have 6 days before they get a constructive approval.
You know,
I,
I mean, it's, go ahead, Val.
I was just going to offer that a lot of times what we'll say is the landscape plan shall be provided by a landscape architect or other qualified professional. And then that just indicates that it's not going to be an unqualified plan, and that it would show you for all infrastructure areas. That way you're getting, if they have a landscape architect on board, that person would be doing it. If they don't, they'd have somebody who's qualified and knowledgeable about plants putting it together. You know, if you saw that it was being prepared by a sewer professional, you could say, I object to this sewer professional's landscape plan.
Amy?
Yeah, I agree with Val. I don't think that at this stage we could require certain areas be planted, certain areas not be planted, or a percentage. I don't know how we would even calculate that.
but we can request, we can require an architect landscape design.
Submitted by a landscape architect or a qualified individual is fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, so we can add that.
A landscaping plan prepared by a qualified professional should be provided to,
For all infrastructure areas.
for all infrastructure areas. Then shall designate landscape plantings and street trees.
And then,
And then Beth's sentence about the
Email.
invasive.
We say by a qualified landscape professional.
Right, because prepared by a qualified landscape professional.
Why don't we say landscape architect or qualified landscape professional?
By a landscape architect or qualified landscape professional. That,
that's fine.
so it's going to say a landscaping plan,
Landscaped plan.
Landscape plan.
Yeah, landscape, not landscape.
a landscape plan
They're always called landscaping plans.
No.
It's landscape
That's a landscape architect, and I'm not going to argue with her.
Maybe, I was gonna say maybe by lawyers.
I guess I'm always saying it wrong.
Yes.
That's how I always put it in my decisions, a landscaping plan, so it should be a landscape plan.
A landscape plan prepared by a landscape architect or qualified professional shall be provided for all infrastructure areas and shall designate landscape plantings and street trees. And then we'll add Beth's sentence about invasive species and native to the Northeast.
Well, yeah, qualified landscape professional, right? We don't
Shall
want
be prepared by a landscape architect or qualified,
landscape professional.
okay, qualified landscape, okay. Yep, I have that. I just missed that because I have landscape twice. So landscape architect or a qualified landscape professional.
Sounds good.
All right. Moving on, at the top of the next page, page 6, E, monuments shall be shown on the lotting plan. That's just another detail that the applicant realizes they have to add. We took final signage plans and details out of prior to endorsement and has added, so we're still going to see them, just not before endorsement, so we'll still have an opportunity to review those. And so that has been added on the very last page under other conditions. It's number 30, says final signage plans and details shall be shown on the construction plans rather than the endorsement plans. So it's still in there, it's just not prior to endorsement.
I was just curious what the change was, why you decided.
Well, there's already signs shown in there, and there's just an opportunity to develop them, and it's something we'll see before they go up, and it's just more time to put them in the construction plans. Provide the third-party testing reference from NJCAT technology referenced in the review response. So there was just, in the whole stormwater discussion between the applicant and our peer reviewer, there was a reference to a testing standard that the reply was based on, and that just needs to be transmitted to the peer reviewer, and we'll get a copy of that.
Can we extend the initials for NJCAT to the long form, the acceptable accessible standard for documents that we'll post, recommend that you have the full language, so
you're saying you want what the acronym stands for?
right.
Okay, I will find that out, and I will add that.
And wherever there's an acronym that doesn't have that somewhere,
Yep. I don't,
the first
I think
time.
that's the only one.
Well, the one that,
That, she's gonna spell
MEPAG.
that out. Massachusetts invasive something, something.
Plan
Yeah, yeah.
advisory group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
but
didn't
you'll
include
be
it in
giving
the
all of the
Yes.
words
I
that
mean,
go
that's
with
the
each
only
of
one I
those
saw.
letters.
but just in case.
And I will get that from either peer reviewer or the applicant to add that language in, but you're correct, Simone. NJCAT. Then condition 5, the water main shall be looped and connected to the existing main on Turtleback. That was in our draft. We've taken that out because Weston and Sampson has confirmed that that's on the plans, so there's no need to condition it. The emergency access road shall include an automated gate at the end of Turtleback Extension and at the end of the cul-de-sac, Road A, within the subdivision limiting access to the emergency road to emergency vehicles and emergency egress, ingress of private residents during an emergency only. The surface and design of the emergency access road shall be verified to be acceptable to the Essex Fire Department, Police Department, and Department of Public Works. So there's just a condition that before things get constructed, that will be, go through, the construction plans will go before the DPW, Fire Department, and Police Departments to review
What
that.
is the standard they're gonna be using? My only question is we leave 3 different departments for 3 different approvals on a type of road. I see a problem with that. I'm picking anybody, I just say I see 3 different
What
opinions.
do you mean, what
It
standards?
says the surface and design of the emergency access road shall be verified.
Oh, the 3 departments are gonna have to
Acceptable.
agree on it.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better if we just put it to a standard of the subdivision standard road or for 3 inches or whatever we require? So it's, we know it's a paved road. That's when the fire department has made that statement, they want a paved road.
Where it ties into Turtleback, it's not paved, because that's not paved now.
I thought it was,
Yeah, it's going to be paved.
I thought it was gonna be paved all the way
Yeah,
to, that
it's all
was the
gonna be
request of the
paved.
fire department, pave it all the way to Turtleback. This is, That's why I asked now. That's why I'm asking now.
Well, if the fire department wants it paved, then you can leave this as it is, because the police department and the Department of Public Works aren't gonna argue about it being paved. It's really only if it's not paved that they're gonna they have to determine what's acceptable. I mean, if you wanna bring it down to just one department, it would be the fire department.
Right. But there's no reason that the DPW can't have a say in it too. But-
Right, and how it's
Because
going.
I would prefer to let everyone have a say in it, and all of these people work with each other all the time, and I'm sure we can come to a consensus.
The more restrictive interpretation, the more restrictive desire will prevail.
Right, and so the DPW could worry about one thing, and the fire department could worry about another. We need to make all of them happy.
Okay.
Can't we just say the paved surface and design? Just put paved.
This,
Concrete, asphalt.
what's it? It's just,
I would be surprised, the emergency roads are usually not paved.
this one is,
Because it's longer.
this one is paved because it's steep and long.
Okay.
And it's paved for most of the distance, but right where it comes out on Turtleback Road, it's in people's driveways. They all have gravel driveways now, so that part I don't think is getting paved. We can clarify that, but this is, the police and fire have, the applicant has taken the plans to police and fire already and talked about it, so they're okay with what's on the plans. I know that. I mean, I talked to them today, too.
So the fire department's requiring it to be paved even though they're coming up a gravel road to get to it?
But it's not, it's just the driveway.
Because of the steep.
Yeah, the part that comes off of Turtleback is fairly flat right now. That's where we walked out.
Right.
But the pitch up to the subdivision is going to be, part of it is at 8%.
I see.
Yeah, as long as they have jurisdiction over it, right? It doesn't matter.
Well, but I mean, the way this is written.
Turtleback Road or Turtleback, it
What's that?
says road on the plan. Is it Turtleback Road or Turtleback Extension?
It's Turtleback Extension.
Extension
I
is-
think of Turtleback as the whole thing is Turtleback, but it's Turtleback Extension on the loop where it comes in.
Okay.
Then the sixth condition just addresses our clerk of the works construction inspector to review the work on our behalf.
Why do we have two names? Why isn't it just called clerk of the works everywhere? Because sometimes it's called representative, sometimes it's called construction inspector.
It should be a third-party inspector.
It should be what?
Third-party inspector is what it should be.
Okay,
can we
so we're
just
taking those
make
both
that-
out and being third-party inspector.
But then we'd have to change it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's okay, that's what word search is for.
And then the other thing is, Madam Chair, do we want to put in that, that it, at the applicant's expense, do we want to put in that it will be pursuant to 4453G, which is the peer review account, and then if it gets down to a certain amount, they have to replenish it?
That's in, so,
Is that here? I thought
no, we haven't mentioned that anywhere.
okay.
So that, that's MGL?
I can get this to you, yes.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, it's MGL, Chapter 44, Section 53G. And then
Right.
what we do is we come up with an initial amount, which is usually, it can be anywhere between $25,000 and $10,000. And then if it gets down to $2,500 or $1,500, they have to replenish it by to have it up to $5,000 at all times.
Yeah, I was going to recommend that it be kept at a minimum during construction at 5,000.
Okay. And I can provide that language. I have it for most of my decisions.
Okay. Any questions on that?
And is that the same thing as the performance security?
Where are you looking?
Where's that?
That's much later, number 32 references the performance security, and I just had a comment that we don't have anything that says anything about the performance security.
That's different. What you do have is the covenant. The covenant serves as your security until they want to post a performance guarantee.
Let's see it.
On the top, well, sorry, it's on the old one. Number 32.
Which version are you?
Maybe different now. Site, it's right above site maintenance. Where is that? There it is. Number 28.
Oh, that's different, yeah.
It's totally different.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just going to add to condition 6. Language that references Mass General Law, Chapter 44. And Amy will get us that, it's standard reference.
Yes.
Okay.
Send myself an email doing that.
Yep. So prior to construction, moving on to the next section, the boilerplate about being registered.
I think that should say recorded.
I'm sorry?
I think the word there should be recorded.
On 7?
Recorded or registered.
Oh, okay.
Both there.
I'm not clear. Are you talking on 7? It says recorded or registered.
Yeah.
So what needs to change there?
I would just say recorded.
And not registered?
Yeah.
Recorded.
Okay, the next, for the next couple ones, we need to look at the final document because the edits here are really confusing. So after that one where we're taking out registered, just recorded instead. Then number 8 will read, okay, so 8 jumps, so 9, there's a 9 in the draft that's confusing because that's deleted, and then 8 is prior to construction, which comes from the paragraph above, but prior to construction, a stormwater pollution prevention plan, SWPPP, shall be submitted to the planning board and shall include a stormwater management controls, dust suppression plan, and all construction phase dewatering, and shall be made available to the town's construction inspector for review. And that, if we change construction inspector to third-party inspector, that change would be made throughout. Any questions on that?
I didn't know we had a construction inspector. Is that Bill?
No, that's a
No,
third party.
that's why it's a third party.
Oh, okay.
That's a clerk of the works person, the person that we hire to
Okay.
oversee the project on our behalf because we don't have the qualifications or time to do that. 9 will be prior to construction activity of any kind and prior to any construction equipment being introduced into the site associated with the site plan, the developer shall submit to the planning board and the town's construction inspector a proposed phase construction sequence schedule, timetable, and bar chart. Said schedule shall be to be used as a guide to activities within the development, including construction of roadways, utilities, drainage systems, stabilization, earth removal, and stockpiling. The schedule, once established, will not be deviated from and may only be modified in agreement between the developer and the planning board. And we changed that from construction inspector to planning board because he's working at our disposal.
Madam Chair, can you add the building commissioner onto any submittals?
So
What I
where's any submittals?
Yeah, all these that are required to go to the planning board and to the third-party inspector, that I get a copy of it too, so I can keep it for records, so.
So,
what's going on.
where are you looking?
On any of these prior to construction and during stuff, when they have to submit stuff prior to,
Okay.
that I get a copy of it, be copied on them, just add it in.
Who oversees the third-party construction?
Planning board.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the applicant's expense.
I think that's you, Ben. It's not you?
Oh. Everything eventually
Well,
comes,
I mean, that's
everything
interesting.
eventually comes down to me. It flows.
Okay, number 10, prior to construction, an order of conditions must be received from the Conservation Commission for the work as proposed on the plans. Any significant changes to the proposed roads and/or drainage are subject to further review by the planning board.
Madam Chair, I would just add that, prior to construction, a final order of conditions. So if an order of conditions has been appealed, it's not final.
Okay, prior to construction of.
And that is a term that DEP uses, final order of
Okay.
conditions.
So we're adding, prior to construction, a final order of conditions must be received from the Conservation Commission for the work list. Okay.
And the F is capital.
Hmm?
The F is capital on final.
Oh, okay, so it's capital F1.
Yep.
Would we want to
Like-
review it if they change septic, anything?
Hmm?
The location?
They have to.
You
come
have
back to
that
you
as
if
a
there's a change.
separate condition.
They'll have to come back to us?
Yeah.
Because it's limited to roads and drainage in this statement.
Right, if there's a change to the roads, and if there's a change to the infrastructure, they have to come back to you.
Okay, can we then add the word infrastructure instead of roads and drainage?
You're saying the same thing in two different ways. So what do you?
Well,
how do you-
infrastructure, you're saying covers septic, roads and drainage.
No, it
No.
doesn't. No, infrastructure is roads and drainage. Septic is separate.
Septic is an
So,
infrastructure.
Would
what
we
is it?
review septic in this condition, order of conditions, come back and moves the septic?
You have,
Come back
excuse
to
me, if I may, you have a separate condition that addresses when the Board of Health reviews
Yeah.
the shared septic systems, if there's a change in the roads and drainage, that it will come back to you for further review. It's a separate condition.
It's, yeah, on 12, we talk about that. It says any significant changes proposed to the proposed roads and/or drainage are subject to further review by the planning board.
Right, that's the one we're reading, right?
No.
No,
we're on
Aren't we
10.
reading 12? I'm sorry.
10.
12, yeah, that's on 12.
I'm, number 10, same thing I'm talking about, number 10. I have number 12
Right,
for
but-
the old one, but
But what Amy is saying is, if you say.
it's somewhere else.
Hmm?
The septic review would be somewhere else,
It's in item 12.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
11 is prior to construction, there shall be an on-site walkover and construction preview meeting to include the town's construction inspector, the fire chief, the police chief, the Department of Public Works superintendent. All limits of work shall be marked in advance, so we'll be adding building inspector to that list.
Can we revise the first sentence to say, instead of there shall be an on-site walkover, that there shall be a mandatory pre-construction site meeting and walkthrough shall be conducted? I mean, the language is a little funky.
So, say that again slowly.
Prior to construction, a mandatory pre-construction site meeting and walkthrough shall be conducted, period. The town third-party inspector, the building commissioner, the fire chief, blah, 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 blah. Or attendees must include the town, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, attendees shall include.
Mhm.
Okay, so prior to construction, a mandatory pre-construction site meeting and walkthrough shall be conducted, period. Attendees shall include the town's construction inspector, the fire chief, the police chief, the Department of Public Works.
No police chief, but the building commissioner.
Hmm?
The building commissioner,
Right, and the building inspector is added there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but the police chief isn't on this list. Do we want the police chief?
he's on the list.
Yeah, you're on the
Okay.
wrong, yeah, you're on the wrong
Sorry.
document. We're on the red line.
Sorry. I just got this one, I reviewed it, so. Okay.
Yeah, right, so prior to construction, a mandatory pre-construction site meeting and walkthrough shall be conducted. Period. Attendees shall include the town's construction consultant, inspector, the fire chief, the police chief, the Department of Public Works superintendent, and the building inspector. All limits of work shall be marked in advance of this meeting. During this meeting, there will be a video recording made of the existing condition of Essex Park Road, up to and including the intersection curbing with Route 130. That's Route 22. Woo.
I was wondering how that video was going to be made.
Who's doing the video then? Who would do the video? The town inspector? Who does the video?
So the applicant can do the video or pay our town inspector to do it, but it's yeah,
I don't know,
Who-
it just seems vague there. That's
Okay.
why I was wondering.
I don't know who would do that, but
I think it would be a group decision at the time. Whoever has the equipment can make the video and it'll be made as a group. And then everybody will have a copy of it.
Who's gonna have the equipment?
Right, like, who has equipment?
Just put the applicant.
It'll be a phone,
Just make the
whoever's
applicant do
phone.
it. Just,
Just say at applicant's
yeah,
expense.
just make the applicant do it. During this meeting, the applicant will will make a video recording.
Okay, thanks.
So, the applicant.
during this meeting, the applicant will make a video recording of
Made of the and then just keep going, yeah.
of the existing condition of Essex Park Road up to including the intersection curbing with Route 22 and including the culvert that crosses underneath the roadway, which shall be used to document the existing conditions. The Department of Public Works or its representative and the developer shall walk the area every 6 months during construction to determine if any damage has occurred as a result of construction, and the developer shall make repairs promptly when damage pursuant to construction has occurred. A final release of performance guarantee or lot release from the planning board covenant shall not be granted until a final walkthrough has taken place and such repairs are made.
Do we want the third-party consultant to go to that 6-month walkthrough?
I don't think you need it. That's all,
No.
it belongs to DPW. It's their responsibility.
Okay.
Number 12, prior to construction, the wastewater treatment design must be approved by the Board of Health. Any significant changes to the proposed roads or drainage are subject to further review by the planning board. Prior to the final construction of the roadways, road names shall be submitted to and agreed upon with the planning board, the Essex Police Department, and the Essex Fire Department.
So when is that?
I'm sorry?
When is final to construction of the roadways? The final construction? Can we either say at the end of the construction or at the beginning of the construction? I mean, right now it's,
I believe at the end of the process for the subdivision, they come back and file all the documents,
right.
and the planning board gives a
Okay.
final sign-off.
So prior to the construction of the roadways? And
Prior,
take out
prior,
final.
prior to the final wearing course being applied.
Yeah, because sometimes they build them as they go, so that you need the road name before the
So-
final.
So I'm just saying, when is that? So can we
How
just
about
indicate when
change
it
it
is
prior
prior
to-
to construction?
It says prior to construction up
No.
above, so let's just do prior to construction.
Yeah.
I would recommend going to prior to endorsement.
Prior to what?
Endorsement.
So move this to prior to endorsement.
Mhm.
So that would be prior to endorsement of the plan, and then go road names, blah, blah, blah.
So you're going to move this to the other
And
section?
that's gonna get moved to prior to endorsement.
That way the plan goes on record with the right road name.
Pressure's on for that one.
Does your assessor weigh in on road names?
Bill, do you know?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly who weighs in on their names.
I think we can add the assessors here in case they want to. And if they don't want to, they can just say, no, thank you.
The assessors. Okay.
In case there's any reason that they would have.
Some towns, they
Yeah.
care.
The equipment for the automated gates, so that section is actually, that condition is moving to the section where we have earlier, it was, number 4, that had, the plan should be modified to include the following prior to endorsement. So that condition is coming out and going as a sub-condition to condition number 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The equipment for the automated gates at each end of the emergency access road shall be selected and verified to be acceptable to the Essex Fire Department, Essex Police Department, and Department of Public Works, and shall be verified with Kinder Morgan for gas line access as well. Additional geotechnical work and/or test pits or soil exploration shall be completed for the following purposes, and a geotechnical engineer shall be retained to engage in pre-construction planning steps and to oversee earthwork and retaining structures during construction, including the following steps and duties. And these all come from the peer review. Test pits for Basin 6P, which haven't been completed yet. Test pits to address bylaw requirement 6-4.3.3.8.14 regarding earth removal to within 4 feet of historical high groundwater, to be coordinated by a geotechnical engineer retained for this purpose. Soil tests as required to be conducted by the Town of Essex Stormwater Management Regulations, Section 7-.d11, and during construction to provide certification from the geotechnical engineer that all fill embankments on the site have been adequately constructed in accordance with the recommendations. The geotechnical engineer shall be retained to oversee the work to ensure compliance with their recommendations. So all of these.
Retains?
I'm sorry?
Who retains the geotechnical engineer?
The applicant.
Okay, I don't think that's clear, because when we're,
So then we'll add it to the first sentence, not any of the bullets, shall be retained by the applicant. We went over a lot of this in our last meeting when we were walking through the peer review comments.
right, so I wasn't sure if it's like the clerk of the works, where the applicant pays for someone that we pick, or they pick the person?
They'll hire a geotechnical engineer. And that's the same way when they did all the test pits for septic, they hired the geotechnical engineer, and then we get the information from that. So that's their person.
Definitely.
Prior to the start of construction, the limit of work shall be established in the field and certified by the engineer or surveyor of record. Applicant's engineer shall demonstrate and/or coordinate methods to ensure work stays within the limit of work. Provide field verification that the inverts of the proposed replacement sections of pipe, sheet 32 of 57, will match the existing inverts at the time of construction. That's just an as-built, verify in field kind of thing. Earth removal in excess of 5,000 cubic yards is subject to an earth removal permit from the Board of Selectmen. See September 3rd, 2025, special permit decision item number 10, page 5. So that's just reminding that, because we do have this permit from the Board of Selectmen required.
Do you still have a board of selectmen, not a select board?
I think we say Board of Selectmen. I don't think we haven't changed that. No, we haven't changed it. I know we haven't changed it before.
That's fine.
Yeah. Prior to the issuance of building permit for any and all lots.
Do we review the homeowners association?
Sorry? What?
Don't we review this as well? 19,
Where are you? Which?
prior to the issuance of building permit for any and all lots. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, a homeowners association subject to review by town council. Is it,
You missed it.
Cool that they written.
So you're,
my question is, should it just be town council or is it also us?
We review it?
Yeah, so, okay. Can
so
we
you're
add-
saying,
It says, subject to review by town council and the planning board?
okay, yep.
So,
Sorry, number 19.
yeah, I've never had that happen before, so I guess, are you gonna review it before I review it, or are you gonna review it after I review it? Because
After.
you're gonna review it after, but
No,
what if there's
sure,
changes?
no, we would review it first, because we're reviewing it
It's
for
like we're doing
content.
this, right?
We're reviewing it for making sure that everything we care about is
Right.
captured in it. And then we would make those modifications if there are any, and then Amy will make sure they're legally accurate and defensible.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to stick our paws into a document that Amy's okayed, because after she's done with it, then that is the version, and we shall not mess with it. So we do our messing ahead of that, and then she'll tell us whether we can make those changes that we wanted to.
Yeah, that was my point. So subject to review by the planning board and then town council.
Sure.
So, looking at the working draft, there are bullets that were numbered 22, 21, 22, and 23. They've all been moved to, instead of prior to the issuance of building permit, they've been moved to general conditions. So they aren't struck, they're moved. Then 20 is prior to, okay, prior to the construction of the mail kiosk and associated structure, the location shall be confirmed with the Essex branch of the post office, and this confirmation should be submitted to the planning board and building inspector. And there was another comment based on our last meeting that the bus stop will also be verified with Manchester Essex Regional School District. And then we're on to other conditions. 22, all construction access shall be from Essex Park Road, and the emergency access to Turtleback Road shall not be used as an access during construction. Private drinking water wells are not and should not be planned as part of the development without additional groundwater evaluation, and that's not the intent, but that's just to memorialize that. Other soil management, and this just addresses how soil is handled during the earthwork. Surplus soil that requires off-site transport and disposal, if any, is subject to state and federal regulations for proper handling, which may include disposal, characterization, and soil profiling. The applicant may import soil to the site. Imported materials shall be managed in accordance with the applicable Mass DEP soil handling requirements and other applicable federal, state, and local requirements. Soil analytic testing or certifications from suppliers of non-impacted sources of imported material are to be provided during construction. Soil stockpiles, if any, should be noted on the stormwater management plan sheets and shall be managed in accordance with the SWPPP. The septic system area as closest to the 7 Essex Drive Road MCP site will require special care during soil handling. Construction phase dewatering may be required for summer operations in some areas near wetland areas and or low-lying areas. Dewatering fluid management plan shall be addressed as part of the stormwater pollution prevention plan required under construction general permit and coordinated with the town's construction inspector.
Could I just go back to D? I just have a question.
Yep.
Will require special care. What does that mean? When you break that down, like, what does that?
Because in handling soil, if they encounter any hazardous materials, then they'll need to deal with it. And this is just acknowledging the fact that the abutting property has that contaminated area.
I just didn't know if that was.
This is a
Well,
recommended
it
condition.
depends on what they find. If they find something, anything, it depends on the concentration of it. So it's hard to really quantify it here. It's just noting that this kind of thing is more also for our construction inspector to be aware of the fact that that exists, and when work's going on there, that they can pay attention to what, how it's handled in that area.
You could put, will require special care in accordance with the MCP during soil handling, something like that. The MCP, the mass contingency plan,
Right.
so.
I'm sorry, so you're saying will require special care during handling in accordance with,
There's a concern for contamination, right?
right.
So, special care in accordance with the Massachusetts contingency plan.
Which should be spelled out.
Yeah, because we're not going to use it any other time, so, mass contingency plan during soil handling, and that will cover it.
I guess the word special just seems so wrong there. Like, could it be restricted, or like will require restrict or specific, or special just seems, I don't know if that's regular language, but
Just change it to specific. That's fine.
So specific instead of special?
Yeah. Will require specific care in accordance with the mass contingency plan during soil handling.
Okay. So that will read the septic system area as closest to the 7 Essex Drive Road, Massachusetts, MCP site, which is going to be defined as the Massachusetts contingency plan spelled out there, will require specific care in accordance with the MCP during soil handling.
thank you.
Construction phase, we did that one. The planning board hereby reserves the right to serve notice on applicant of a cease and desist work order on all roadway and/or utility construction should a violation of the endorsement, the approval, the conditions, or the restrictions be found to exist. Such cease and desist work order may be issued by the planning board and/or the building department, and when served in writing directing itself to the violation occurring, shall act to prohibit any and all work on the areas as mentioned in such order. Within 5 days of the transfer of ownership of the subdivision in whole or in part, the developer shall notify the planning board of the name and address of the new owners. The developer shall provide the new owner with a copy of these conditions. Prior to the release of the performance security held for this project, the board must determine that the construction or installation has been completed in accordance with the approved plan and decision. Upon such determination, it shall release the interest of the town on the bond, deposit, or covenant, and return the bond or deposit to the person who furnished it, or issue a release of covenant in a form for recording. So I'm looking at you, Amy.
Sure, so that's because under.
No, I mean, is that all legit?
It's all legit,
Okay,
because
yep.
under 41, Section 81U, the developer has the option to either do a bond, a deposit, or a covenant. So that's why, if they do a bond, the amount gets taken down.
As it-
Yeah,
okay.
as it goes.
Right,
So that's what that's for.
okay.
Can we also ask our third-party consultant to review it? I mean, how are we going to know if it's done?
That's what our construction inspector,
Oh, sorry, I got it.
By the board, that's what, you guys will send it out to your consultant.
we decide, but our construction inspector is the one who tells us how much has been done.
Correct.
Okay,
And give
so
us
we
the
don't
amount.
have to say
Will
that.
this bond also, or will there be a bond that goes after construction's final, but for 18 months or so?
No,
Oh, that's going to be in there?
no, as soon as it's final and it's signed off on, they get whatever's left.
So do we want a bond to assure that the road doesn't just fall apart in 18 months, or?
Unfortunately, there's no statutory provision to require that.
Okay.
Yeah. The bond is to cover construction. Do we have in here that this is always going to remain private?
Yes.
Yes.
So that would be on them. then.
Okay.
Yeah. And this decision has to be given to each homeowner.
Yep.
So they will then know that it's gonna be a private road and they're gonna be responsible for it.
Yeah, that's down here on
Okay.
31. Site maintenance and control, that should be control of work. Site maintenance and control of work during construction. Construction equipment or materials shall not be parked, stored, or placed in any area directly adjacent to or upgradient of any drainage channel or wetland area, nor any cul-de-sac island. Repairs and maintenance to equipment shall be conducted in areas where no spills or leakage of fuels or other fluids could pose a pollution hazard.
And we also say nor on Turtleback Road.
There's no construction access there, so they can't
But on
go.
Essex Park, it's Essex Park, right, road? Do we want to say there's no storage of materials or equipment on that road, parking on that road, to inconvenience the neighbors, or do we not? Just ask.
And we say there's no access on Turtleback Road, but,
That's not
We
their
already said
property.
that. We already said that about no construction or
Right, but
anything
there's,
access.
I
right,
mean,
but that's different than storage of,
but Essex Park Road is town property, so they can't just store stuff there.
Yeah, correct.
But they can park there, right?
Huh?
They can park?
No, no.
How do we know no?
why, yeah.
But
well,
you
they
have
can park there.
bylaws that wouldn't allow, the police would ask them to be towed or remove them from our public way.
I didn't catch that, Val, sorry.
Normally, all cities and towns have rules that govern that you can't, if you have no parking on the public way, the police can have them towed.
So the police would control that, and we wouldn't need to put it in here?
You can put it
neighbors
in.
park there? Can neighbors park there? On Essex Park Road when people visit?
I don't know, whatever standards apply to Essex Park Road now would continue to apply. And I don't think it's in our purview in this decision to talk about what can and can't happen on Essex Park Road. I'm just saying, because there's some parking regulation that's in effect now, and I don't know what it is, but that would continue to be in effect. And that's a police matter.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to just maybe change it to say, under A, construction equipment and/or materials shall be parked and stored on-site, on-site only, and then say, and shall not be, and then keep going on with parked, stored, placed in any area directly, blah, 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 blah.
So you're just adding, shall be parked and stored on-site only,
Correct.
and shall not be, yeah, that's fine. That covers that.
That covers everybody.
Turtleback in Essex Park.
It just has to be on-site, yep.
Earth disturbed by activities associated with the roadway or easement such as tree cutting, stump grubbing, cutting, filling, and regrading shall be appropriately stabilized in accordance with SWPP.
We're going to spell that out.
I'm sorry?
It's already
that?
spelled out.
She wanted to spell it out, but it's already spelled out
That's, we've already, that's, was spelled out.
earlier.
Page before.
Last page.
Sorry, I didn't turn the page, I'm getting confused. I'm like, what? We talked about that already. Oh, look, last page. So items there, C that was crossed out and D was crossed out, were rewritten together to say all earthworks, soil stockpiling, erosion control, and site maintenance shall be addressed in the SWPP, and work shall be coordinated with the town's construction inspector. That really just combined the information in those and in F. So those three that are crossed out are covered by the SWPP. The location of earth material stockpile should be designated on a plan which should be submitted to the town's representative. Said location to be determined by the developer and the town in accordance with local regulations.
So is the town representative the town construction inspector? I mean,
Yeah.
if it is, then we
it
should
does
keep
say
that
yeah,
word.
But yeah, we'll keep that same reference.
Okay.
Burial or burning of vegetation, stumps, or construction debris is strictly prohibited anywhere within the subdivision. Such materials should be removed and properly disposed of off-site. Any blasting operation shall obtain proper permits and should not be undertaken on any Sunday or holiday.
Should that also have specific times? Like
Yeah,
7 to 5?
Right,
I mean, you know, like, not in the middle of the night. I mean, I just think you should have a,
Have standard times for construction?
No.
never?
You don't have standard times for construction in
Oh.
bylaws, so you can put it.
It's
Yeah,
not endorsed.
okay.
Police might have something, but I
Okay.
don't. Holiday,
Should say legal holidays.
okay. That
On any
answers my
Sunday, or-
question.
yeah, on any Sunday or legal holiday.
or legal holiday.
And what's a legal holiday, federal or?
So not
state
on your
or-
birthday?
Yeah, I can list them if you want me to.
I think I should because I get that call constantly.
Okay.
Somebody don't want work going on
Yep.
Veterans Day when everybody else in the world's working.
So it's essentially.
I think it should be
It's
included,
essentially federal,
federal.
Okay,
because it's, like, it doesn't include Patriots Day,
Right.
things like that.
So that should be, maybe we could
I have a
attach
list
the
of-
list that could be
yeah.
attached to.
We can just put them in, I
Put
can
'em right
send,
in.
I can send them
Yeah,
over to
that'd
you.
be
I
perfect,
keep
thank you.
sending myself emails, I'm gonna wake up to 10 million emails from myself. If I don't, I forget, so.
Just be careful what you say about that person sending emails.
I know, right? I keep forwarding the same email, adding to it.
yeah, could be, who's this crazy person? Any blasting operation shall obtain proper permits and should not be taken on any Sunday or legal holiday, nor outside of an 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't do that, can we?
Huh?
Yeah, for blasting you can.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
Blasting?
Yeah, that's very reasonable.
but we can't for construction, right?
Not if you don't have
We don't have
something.
We don't have it already,
Yeah.
but blasting is,
If the police have,
If the police have it, then they can, but
can we check with that?
the only reason why you would have it is if you had a noise bylaw.
A noise, that's what I'm
we don't
thinking
have
of.
it, we have no noise
The
ordinances.
police
here.
has no noise?
No, no,
Okay.
we have nothing. This is Essex.
Just
I
come by and
thought of-
pretend like they do. Your kids are thinking.
No construction equipment or materials may be parked, stored, or placed within the drainage easement as shown on the plan, except as may be required to install the detention basin.
Sorry.
Once paved, the street shall be kept clear and passable at all times. No equipment shall be parked in such a manner as to render the street impassable. And no refuse containers, trailers, or construction materials of any kind shall be placed or stored on the street nor within the cul-de-sac island. Construction activities on individual lots shall be conducted in a workmanlike manner at all times. Blowing dust or debris shall be controlled by the developer of lots through stabilization, wetting down, or other proper storage and disposal methods.
Isn't there clear guidelines in the building code for dust and things like that? I mean, what does workmanlike manner mean?
Clear definitions? No. But there are terms and there are regulations we can go to control stuff when it's a problem.
So can we just,
If you feel like this is adequate, that's fine
Well,
with me.
there's-
It is,
we
it
have-
is, it covers us
Okay,
to be able to go look elsewhere.
We've
for stuff.
included dust control in the stormwater pollution prevention plan, so that whole plan is part of just maintaining the site.
Right, but this is specifically, that's for the roads, isn't it? And then once we get into individual lots, that's a different construction. But it's fine if Bill feels like this is
There are things when
adequate.
it becomes a problem, there are things we can use to control that.
Great.
My one question though was on paved. What
Yes,
paved is that?
yes.
That final paving or is that rough pave?
Where it says just once paved, like.
I would say that means binder.
Yeah.
Binder?
I agree. It's binder.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Val? Final or?
she agreed.
Binder.
It's binder.
But I would say, because once the binder is down, the road is passable, and that's when you want to keep it clear because of.
wanted to make sure, so it
yeah,
should
because of safety
specify.
equipment. Just, when there's construction work going on, ambulances need to be able to get down there, so once there's binder down, I think this applies.
So binder is the same,
Binder's the first coat you put down.
are we gonna put once binder or,
They're gonna
Once.
add binder onto this, right?
Once
that-
paved with binder.
oh,
the
with
streets-
binder,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so when that first layer goes down, then.
Okay.
Down to 30, final signage on, and this came from earlier, we removed it out of prior to endorsement, or prior to we took it out of prior to endorsement. Final signage plans and details should be shown on the construction plans. So we'll still see those, but not prior to endorsement. The roadways shall forever remain private, which will be clearly noted on the subdivision plans as well as on each individual deed. However, there shall be a conveyance of the right for public travel on the roadway in order to access the open space for recreational purposes and open space and water maintenance purposes. And these were, the reason they're green highlighted is because they were moved from other conditions, well, they were moved into other conditions from another section that was earlier where they were struck out. That was in the, prior to the building permit section, so they just got moved but not changed. The OSRD subdivision will comply with all Department of Public Works requirements with respect to water flow and pressure. The alignment of the water line may be allowed to cross through the open space shown on the OSRD plan. 33 is prior to the issuance of a building permit, the open space maintenance and ownership shall be established consistent with bylaw section 6-8.9.6. So that is our caveat there regarding the open space, which isn't going to be decided now, but as a condition here, it needs to be determined.
so why isn't that under prior to the issuance of a building permit section? Why did it get moved down here? Did it just get lost, got hung up to dry?
Yeah, so we'll move that over to prior to issuance of a building permit.
Yeah, okay.
Public access to open space. The definitive subdivision plan prepared by the applicant includes 6 parking spaces at the end of Road A, access before the gate at the end of the emergency access road, and contiguous to the gas line easement. See proposed parking easement on sheet 27, proposed open space parking 6, and proposed trail map kiosk on sheet 32. These parking spots shall be for the exclusive use of any persons accessing the open space portions of the property at the gas line easement, and from there, the informal but established trail network shown on the existing conditions drawings, sheets 3 through 13. On-street parking shall not be used for accessing the open space. Pedestrians may traverse the subdivision roads to access the open space and/or may do so through other accessible points of entry from abutting roads and/or properties as allowed thereon. This condition is made based on the offer by the applicant during the public hearing process to provide public access to the open space and the planning board's agreement to include it as a condition of approval. And that has captured the intent of the conversation that I had with the applicant regarding, we had gotten their email after one of our last meetings that said the intent had always been to, and so this went over to try and just memorialize that intent, that those parking spots are for the public, and public has the right of way to access the spots, so. And then I think everyone was okay with it. Amy's nodding her head.
I'm okay with it.
35, expiration work must begin and continue within 2 years from the issuance of this decision.
I have a change there, if I may.
What's that?
Val has a change.
Okay.
The issuance of the decision could be appealed, and I think that should be maybe from the date of plan endorsement, or
Yeah, from the data plan endorsement. That makes sense, because if there's an appeal, that's just burning time. So we're
The
going to
other-
change it to the date of
the other-
endorsement.
yeah, the other place this could go would be in the covenant.
Yep, we can also,
But-
in both places, correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good idea.
Also, explain continue.
What's that?
Continue, the work must begin and continue. Always a question when somebody stops for so long, how long is acceptable?
What do you think? 30 days, 60 days, 120 days?
Say 6 months.
What's that?
That's 120, right? I don't know. That's why I
I'm
say
not,
6
I'm
months.
not good at math. Yeah, okay, so let's do 6 months.
6
So
months, that's what the building
work shall
code does with
continue and
permits.
continue,
Any stoppage for over 6 months.
yeah, without stoppage over 6 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
Without any stoppage.
over 6 months. Sending myself another email here.
Without stoppage that extends 6 months.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
What was that?
Without stoppage that extends over 6 months. That was good.
Okay, so that's going to read, expiration, work must begin and continue without any stoppage that extends over 6 months within 2 years from the date of endorsement.
How about, I don't mean to be a problem, how about work must begin within 2 years from the date of plan endorsement and must continue without stoppage for over 6 months?
Without any stoppage that extends over 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, we can work
A
on that.
stoppage of 6 months, a stoppage longer than 6 months qualifies as expiration after 2 years.
Yes, we can work on this, but that's the gist of it, is it has to go continuously and it can't stop for over 6 months.
Right, it has to start within 2 years
Yep.
and can't stop for
More than 6 months.
more than 6
Yeah.
months, yeah.
So that's what we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Okay.
I've got it here, okay.
My other comment is substantial change. Who determines substantial change?
Where are you talking about
There's
substantial change?
The
I didn't
planning
see it
board.
in here at all.
Oh, that's in the statute, under 81W.
So they come in with a small little change, everything has to come back to the planning board?
It has to be a plan change, like a significant, so,
Right, so
Yeah.
usually in the past decisions, they put in that the building inspector determines what's a substantial change. So that minor little changes that don't really affect a whole lot don't have to come back to the board.
Well, like, a lot line adjustment has to come to the planning board.
That wouldn't be a minor change.
That would be an A&R plan.
Right.
Yep.
No, I'm talking just like construction, when things come out and happen, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but something that wouldn't be considered a major change, but it does change the plans.
I would
Yeah,
say if it doesn't change the conditions, if it doesn't change anything in this decision, whether it be the findings, the waivers, or the conditions, but it's a small change on the plan, then, for example, if they're going to, let's say they're going to change a corner of a drainage basin, but the drainage basin will still comply with
Yeah.
the stormwater, then that change can happen on, that could happen.
Right, I think I'm getting more towards, somebody's got to make that decision, and I think it should just state that the building inspector should be making that decision, whether something has to come back
So
to
you want
this.
a condition here that says the building inspector is in charge of everything that happens?
I tried to put that at the beginning,
You
didn't I
already told me
say?
that earlier.
I told you, let's put it in at the beginning.
I'm just saying, who
I
makes the decision?
often
over-
make that call by talking, when I'm doing the planning board work in my communities, any change, I usually will run past at least the planning board chairman to make sure that they agree that it's a minor change.
Well, that's fine, I'm not saying I wouldn't do any of that, I just think we need to say who, somebody has to make the original decision when they say, we're changing this, and who is that person? I just think that it should say in here who that person is.
Should it be the planning board's representative, or should it be the building commissioner?
It's, and every time I've been involved in them before, it's been the building commissioner. Actually, it was the building commissioner and the planning director, because it was planning director.
Right.
But without saying anything here, so that means every time a minor change comes up, they need to move a basin 6 inches, it's got to come back to the planning board for their approval. And I
Well,
don't
it's
think the
minor
planning board
change.
wants to be coming here to make that decision on everyone. That's what
And
I'm
I don't want to wait 2 weeks till we meet again.
Wait 2 weeks to find it either, right? So I'm just saying, who is going to make that decision?
You are.
So,
But that's just,
Which is right there.
need to say something, right?
You could say something like, I can come up with something like minor changes that do not
Yes.
impact the, this decision shall be made by the building department.
Perfect. Just somewhere where we know where to start.
We can move
No
across
minor
that.
changes, that-
Minor plan changes
minor plan changes.
that do not impact this decision.
Or the recorded plans,
Well,
so they can't
moving
be,
a drainage basin 6 inches does affect the recorded plans, but you're gonna get an as-built plan at the end that tells you where everything is.
you're going to read that back to us?
I have minor plan changes that do not impact this decision shall be made by the building department. Because some minor changes will affect the plan, but we won't know that until the as-built is,
Okay.
so. Yeah.
I just have a question for Amy, sorry, it's the line.
That's fine, that's what.
It's the line before the stoppage of 6 months. My only just question is like, what happens if there's like another COVID or another something, like, of course it's going to stop over 6 months. Like, what accounts for something like that?
They would come in and request a change to that
So
condition,
that
and
would
you would
do it.
grant it.
Okay.
Yeah. And also
That's
during
extraordinary.
COVID,
Yes, it is, but it happens.
Yep, so
the
yeah.
governor issued an extension of all permits when
Yeah,
COVID
yeah,
happened.
And then there are the the Permit Extension Act and all that stuff, so. But I see what you're saying. So yeah, if, worst case scenario, they would have to come in and you would just revise that condition.
So that will be condition 37, 36 for Bill. But the numbers are going to change a little. Because we put one,
You're moving two of them.
yeah, we're moving, but we're moving one number to a
sub.
bullet under, yeah, to a sub-bullet, so. Are you guys okay with everything that we've walked through, or do you want me to read back the changes?
I think we're okay.
No, I mean, I've written them down, Maggie's been writing them down, and Amy's been writing them down, so we have them.
And I have 10 million emails to myself, so.
Yeah.
we
And
should
it's
be-
recorded.
Exactly, yeah, it's been recorded by 1623, so, So definitive subdivision plan deliberation and vote. Deliberate and finalize all decision language, including conditions, which we have done. This says, Lisa, to list the amended language and read in the final form. We waived that. We did it as we went. So I will take a motion to approve with conditions.
With waivers and conditions, and then waivers and conditions.
Okay, but we did the waivers. We voted on the waivers already.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yep, you're right.
And they're in the decision that we're voting on, but we already took a separate vote on the waivers.
Okay.
So take a motion to approve with conditions a definitive subdivision plan by applicant Bell Point LLC for a property at 0 Essex Park Road and 0 Pond Street rear, map 147, lot 19, and map 142, lots 30 and 31, to create a 36-lot open space residential development subdivision to be known as the Preserve at Essex under the Town of Essex rules and regulations relative to subdivision control and the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Sections 81K through 81GG, known as the Subdivision Control Law, and per a special permit issued on September 3rd, 2025, per Town of Essex bylaws, Section 6-8, open space residential development, as shown in the definitive subdivision plan drawings, sheets 1 through 57, dated June 3rd, 2026, prepared by the Moore and Cameron Group and submitted by applicant Bell Point LLC, subject to the conditions as written in the planning board decision. So take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Shelley. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Peter. This is a roll call vote.
Peter Levasseur, aye.
Beth Walsh, aye.
Simone Early, aye.
Shelley Bradbury, aye.
Ariel Brain, aye.
Lisa O'Donnell, aye. The motion passes.
So can we all say thank you so much, Lisa? Valerie, Teresa, and Amy for doing this. Thank you.
Teresa Jr. tonight.
And Teresa Jr. It's extraordinary work and all your time, and just thank you.
Well, thank you guys for bearing with all this, too. We have other business. We have one other piece of other business. Night. There is a plot plan that you have a copy of.
I have here, you have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bill is asking, you're all set. Okay, thank you.
If I may,
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you guys, you are a very, very conscientious planning board. I deal with a lot of planning boards, and I was very, very impressed with all of your preparation and questions, and very, very good. Oh, well.
No, I mean, it's, but.
No, I know, but
everyone-
everybody,
everyone's
yeah,
been
but-
engaged,
But,
so, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
she's incredible, but you guys also are.
She's incredible, yes.
Thank you.
Second that.
Have a safe drive home.
Drive safely.
Figured it out.
No,
Do
we're
you have
just
2
doing,
hours?
we're doing a sighting of a building for a property, so if you don't have to hang out if you don't.
Have a good night.
She goes off, right?
No, Val,
Oh, okay.
we're still on 1623. We're not going to reconvene down, so we're not
Yes.
taking the whole road show downstairs to vote on this.
I thought you were telling her she could check. Okay.
Oh, no, I was saying to Val that we're done with the subdivision and it's 9:45 at night, so she wanted to.
Good night.
It's easy, right? This one's like.
Good work.
Oh, good night, Valerie.
Okay, thanks, Val.
Work
Thank you so much.
Appreciate all your help. So we have a sighting of a building at 100 Belcher Street, and a plot plan that was provided that shows the property setbacks. This is a second dwelling on a parcel, but this parcel is 5.2 acres, so they have the acreage to have a second structure on this house, second structure on this property. And you can see they have located it within the property setback, which is the red dashed line around the perimeter of the lot, with our 25, 20, and 30-foot setbacks.
Right.
And Bill, you're looking for us to agree that the siting of this building is appropriate.
Yes.
Any questions?
Motion to approve the siting of 100 Belcher.
Good idea. Second, thank you. Simone moved and Beth second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No roll call vote? Okay, Simone.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait, do we need minutes? Minutes?
We're not doing it.
Any minutes?
Okay,
It's 9:45.
yeah. All approved.
So who motioned? Simone motion? Who second? Beth second. All those in favor?
Aye.